What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, we've been doing a lot of talk about the Jalen Ramsey situation, and I talked about in the last episode, there's usually deals done behind the scenes before we ever find out about it. Right? There's always teams more interested, teams that are offering more. We don't ever find out about it. In this case, apparently, the Baltimore Ravens were one of those teams, right? We heard about the Falcons, we heard about the Raiders, and the Rams are still floating out there. Apparently, Baltimore was one of the teams that was interested in making a move. They felt like you add Jalen Ramsey to our defense. We got Marlon Humphrey. We got Wiggins. That puts our defense over the top. We make one, 1 year, 2 year run to the Super Bowl. If it doesn't work out, get out of the contract. You move on with your time, right? Here's the thing. Baltimore wanted to do this. They just didn't want to take on the full salary. And this is something we talked about for the last couple weeks, is that the Dolphins are going to have to take on some salary to get rid of Jalen Ramsey. It's just going to have to happen. They signed him to an extension already. Everyone knows they want to get rid of him. So to basically make the pot sweeter, you got to give him some money. The Dolphins apparently told Baltimore, "We not paying nothing. we're not paying the lion's share. Not even we're not going to pay this year." Miami said, "We're not paying. Period." Now that tells me the Dolphins probably just didn't want to trade him within conference and division to a team that's better than them, which I'm fine with. Like, why facilitate a trade to a team that is already ahead of you to make them an even better team? That makes total sense to me. So I don't. Some people may hear that and be like, "Oh, you gotta trade him." I'm actually cool with them not doing that. I do, in fact, believe they will do that for a team in the NFC or a team that's like maybe a lower level team. So I don't hate the strategy about the team. Now it does mean we have to hold on to him longer. It may mean that we have to eat more contract, maybe picks down the line. There may be some consequences to this whole situation, but I would not trade him to the Chiefs, Baltimore, Buffalo, or Cincinnati. Those are four teams for sure. Why would I trade my best defender to you guys and then fortify your team even more? Now the idea that we pick up the phone in case Baltimore had, I think, like 12 or 13 picks in this draft. So there may have been an idea that we don't want to trade him to Baltimore, but y'all got so many picks that maybe you'll give us a really good deal because one pick's not going to kill your draft. You have picks all over the place. You might give us, a 4 and a 7. Like, who knows, right? Because the draft is come and gone, now it's just about money. You going to pay us or not? Miami's like, no. And so he's still on the team. I think this is probably dead and gone. Baltimore's cap is not built to really take on a contract, so the deal could only get done if Miami takes on money. And Miami's like, no. But I thought it was interesting that they put their name in the ring because I had only heard, Atlanta and Raiders are both like middling to bad teams. So the idea of him going there is fine. Even though the Raiders are in the AFC, the Raiders are nowhere close to competing. Nobody believes in them. They're possibly the worst team in their division. So what are we talking about? And Atlanta could win the division, but again, that's an NFC. No one cares about that. So that's interesting. Maybe Miami will come back to the table if they exhaust all options and say, "Hey, we want to take on some money." This seems to me like kind of dead on arrival, but I thought I'd bring it to your attention. So Tyreek Hill's back in the news. Man, Tyreek be just doing stuff. I love Tyreek. He won't not be Tyreek. That's the best way to describe it. He's just gonna be Tyreek. So Tyreek every year for the last few years will just give you who his top 5 quarterbacks are. I'm guessing people ask him, he's like, "Let me put it out there." First of all, this is almost always a trap. Because if you don't say there were certain names, then all of a sudden it becomes clickbait. So last year, for instance, he didn't have Josh Allen in his top 5. And people were like, "Oh, you just bitter because Buffalo keep beating y'all up and blah, blah, blah." And he just didn't put him on the list. Totally cool. It makes sense. I'm going to give my rival any props until this year. They asked him again, and he said, in no particular order, Lamar Jackson, makes sense. Patrick Mahomes, of course, makes sense. Josh Allen made the list this year. I guess an MVP will do that for you. Joe Burrow. Those 4, I think, without a doubt, we all agree, best 4 quarterbacks. We don't have to really debate about it. Number 5 is where things get dicey, right? Because I think Jalen Hurts has a claim to it. Just won a Super Bowl. Justin Herbert's talent is through the roof. Could he be the guy? Who knows? I've seen Dak Prescott's name. Some people think Jaden Daniels is already there. Fine. Tyreek Hill said his 5th quarterback is Baker Mayfield. I don't hate Baker Mayfield. I don't believe he's the 5th best quarterback. I don't think he's better than Matt Stafford. But I think Baker Mayfield is very good. I think he's top 10, probably like a 9 or 10. But I think Baker Mayfield is very good. And if you made the argument Baker Mayfield is better than Tua, I think you can make that argument and have a lot of good points. He's won 2 playoff games. He's consistently been healthier. You know, he's more durable. There's more. There's arguments there. Stats are better, like kind of comparably, whatever. But the fact that Tua was on the list last year and not on the list this year is just a little. I don't know if it means a lot, but I don't think it means nothing. Because at some point they're going to ask the coach, the quarterback, other people on the team, "Hey, how do you feel about Tyreek's list?" "Oh, it's just Tyreek being Tyreek. I can't really fit." And two is always like very much like, "Hey, I feel confident in what I do. Tyreek knows I love him. He's my man's, blah blah blah." But that on some level is a thing, because when Tyreek first came to Miami, he was saying, "Yo, Mahomes, Tua," like they weren't like there wasn't a big gap. He's like, "Yo, Tua throws the best catchable ball. Like he's super accurate. I know Mahomes is the GOAT, but yo, man, Big Tua, Big T out here giving it up." And people were like, you talk about that Tua? The lefty Tua? He's like, "Yeah, man, Tua's that man. Tua's a dog." We all loved it because he came to the team and immediately started bigging up the quarterback. Gave him love when Tua didn't even know he was Tua. Tyreek was like, I know who you are. I believe in you." And then in this short period of time to not now be in the top five, and it wasn't like a OLI, like, oh, Tua, Baker, toss up for five. He just was on the list. And I don't know if this is Tyreek's way of like doing a soft breakup. I don't know if he was trolling. I just don't think it's nothing. I do think it's something. I just don't know what it is. I know I don't love it, and it's just another thing and that's another Tyreek thing. That's all it is. Just more Tyreek talk. So there were a lot of quarterbacks that slid during the draft. It wasn't just Shador. One of them was Quinn Ewers, who the Dolphins drafted. And the idea was he was going to be a mid-round, third, fourth, fifth round pick. We talked about it leading up to the draft. Would the Dolphins make a mid-round pick for Quinn Ewers, Shador, whatever? Not even Shador. Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, whatever. And then draft night, everybody started sliding, right? And the idea was, did Quinn Ewers make a mistake? Did his team not get good information? Did he overplay his hand? Should have gone back to college to get the money? Whatever. And the question was, why did he slide? I totally get why teams didn't want to deal with Shador, because they don't want to deal with the press. They don't want to deal with Dion, him not playing and the camera being on him. I get that to some degree, right? I'm a big Shador fan, so I thought he shouldn't even been a mid-round discussion. But I get why some teams may not want to. But the Quinn Ewers thing was weird because super durable, big-time university, top recruit. Yeah, maybe a career backup with an off chance to start. That's not usually a 6th-round pick. And so apparently a bunch of scouts, when they were polled, said, "Hey, we thought he was too big of a name to be a clipboard holder. We didn't want that name on our bench. So even though we had him graded in the 3rd and 4th round, we decided not to draft him because we didn't want to deal with the optics of that." Let me tell you something. If that's a true report, and this is multiple scouts, it's not one scout who just said that's why we didn't draft. Multiple. Because basically every team drafts a backup quarterback at some point, right? That's that's a weak reason. I can't say what I want to say because we're on the broadcast. But if you did that, oh, he's not better than our starter, but we don't want him looming over our franchise. If you think he can help your team by being a competent backup, and you just chose not to draft him because people might ask about the backup, I don't like that. There's no team with a solidified starter where the backup quarterback is even a conversation. Do you even know who the backup quarterback in Kansas City is right now? Do you know who Buffalo's backup is? Cincy, Baltimore, Chargers. Who's the backup quarterback? Who's Philly's backup? Like, who are these guys? Like, it doesn't matter. If you have a good quarterback, the backup is just there in case of emergency. Break glass. Now, if you don't have a good quarterback, or if you're a team like Minnesota where you don't know if you have a quarterback or not, yeah, of course. I don't want to bring on Quinn Ewers, who might be better than JJ McCarthy. I thought he was better than him 2 years ago. So, yeah, that might be a situation because JJ is basically a rookie. I wouldn't bring him into the Colts where people are kind of in and out about AR-15. Totally makes sense to me. But if you're a team where you're going to draft the backup anyway, like if you're a team like the Raiders, you got Geno for 3 more years. You don't think Quinn Ewers is better than Geno Smith. You just gave Geno money anyway. You can't draft him because what? People might look at you. Like, I don't get that from a football standpoint. Everyone knows when you got the man at quarterback, that we good. So this is lucky for Miami because he fell to the Dolphins. But if that's really the reason, no character issues, not like, oh, his tape wasn't good, now he's a bad kid, now he's not committed to football. None of those reasons. Just, I just thought too big a name to be on the sideline. I hate that reason. Again, I gave a little bit of build to the Shador thing. I do think there was some other stuff going on there. I don't think it was just football. I've said that before. But Quinn Ewers is not Shador. They're not the same person. There's no fanfare around Quinn Ewers, not for real. There's no cameras following you around. Like, I know Texas is a big college and the boosters are out of control. I get that. This is not what this is. He's not what Tebow was. He's not what Shador. He's not. There's levels to what this is. That tells me that y'all just didn't like him and you're trying to find a way out of it. But if the real reason was we didn't want him on the clipboard and the camera being like, here's fifth round draft pick Quinn Ewers, could he unseat the starter? I don't know what kind of organization you're running. I don't know what kind of quarterback room you have. That's a weak reason to me, but I will take it because that means he got to come to the Dolphins. And apparently they didn't mind him being Tua's backup. But that is a weak reason, and that kind of makes me a little weary of a lot of other decisions made during draft night. But we'll leave it here. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Again, thank y'all for all the likes, subscribes. Y'all have been crushing it lately. We appreciate the love, and we'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.